Sorry for yesterday's delay. Today we are going to discuss about the just wait a minute. Today we are going to discuss about the macro and micro evolution. Evolution is an incredible common phenomena. Underline this common phenomena. Okay? Evolution is a common phenomena. Okay? Just wait a minute. I am taking pencil. It's a common phenomena and may occur between every generation. Generation to generation, there will be an evolution that is as micro evolutionary change. Okay, small changes will occur from generation to generation. There will be some changes. Okay, over a period of time, the relative proportion of alleles in the population will change. Okay, some may increase, some may decrease. Okay, over the relative proportions of alleles in the population will change. Some may increase or decrease, and still others some may remain same. Okay, some may remain same. Some increase, some decrease, some may remain same. Okay, over short run of just a few generations, such changes in inherent trends may be only very small. Few generations, there will be only very small changes will be occurring. But over a very long period of time, there may be a spectacular kind of adaptations and whole new variety of life macro evolutionary change. In this meaning, they are saying that over small generations there will be only small changes, but in the wide variety of changes, wide variety long generation gaps, then there will be more changes. That is macro evolution. Small means micro. Okay, you have understood about the micro evolution manner. Factors responsible for variations, this is important. Primary evolutionary factors are mutations. Mutations is genetically related. Migrations one place to another place. Okay, genetic recombinations. Okay, genes, changing of the genes. Okay, changing of the genes. Okay, changing of the gene, that is genetic recombination. Genetic drift, random drift, civil right effect, all these are same related points. Just remember this one, we can explain in the coming classes. These are, we can explain this in the coming. Mutations first point, migration second point, genetic recombination third point, genetic drift fourth point. Okay, these are the factor respondent. Role of natural selection. Okay, nature, natural selection means selection, but natural. Okay, what enables population to adapt to the environment? That is natural selection. Okay, environment and adaptation is nothing but a natural selection. Genetic variations are created by primary evolutionary forces. Okay, this important point you have to underline that one. Genetic variations are created by primary evolutionary forces. Primary evolutionary forces. Some of these variations influence some of these variations influence reproductive success. Reproductive success. Okay, number of offspring successfully raised, that is reproductive increases, that is success, reproductive success. If as a result of genetic variation some individuals contribute more offspring to the next generation than the others, it is the role of natural selections. As a result of this genetic variation, some individuals occurring one individual occurring next generation to 4 example. This is an example. One individual is contributing more in the next generation. That is because of the role of natural selection. Okay, we go to the next one. Thus the natural selection is differential net reproductive success. Natural selection is a differential net reproductive success. Okay, differential net reproductive success. Okay, differential natural selection is a differential net reproductive success. Okay, environment related natural selection, genetic variations, primary evolutionary forces. This leads to reproductive success, offspring one to many offsprings. Okay, that is differential reproductive success. Okay, let's move on to role of natural selection. It's only role of natural selection. As a result of natural selection, that is environment, is a change in the allelic frequency. Okay, frequency of alleles changes relative to specific environmental factors. There are so many environmental factors: climatic conditions, rain, groundwater, trees, etc. all will come under environment. Okay, as a result of natural selection is a change in allelic frequency related to specific environmental factors. Such a functional shift in allelic frequency is called adaptation. Okay, such a change related to environment is called as adaptation. Such a change related to environment is called as adaptation. More on this is genetic polymorphism. Genetic polymorphism. Okay, genetic polymorphism. Okay, the genetic polymorphism. Okay, unit of selection is individual. Unit of selection is a individual. Next point is unit of selection is a individual. It is individuals who reproduce or do not reproduce and who attempt to maximize their own. Individual is only responsible for their offspring maximization. That is, one individual can produce 2. If it is produces 2, one individual will produce 4. Its reproductive success will depend upon the individual only. That is, whether it is producing 2 or 4 or more, that is mainly based on the individual. Its offspring is mainly dependent upon the individual. That is, it may be produced 0 also if does not have. That is, unit of selection is a individual. Extinction also, if the total reproductive success of all the members of the population continuously falls below replacement value. That is, replacement value is if there are 10 people. Okay, if it is produces next generation 10 or 20, the reproductive is stable or increasing. Okay, if 5 people die, suppose, reproduction is 2. How many individuals they are losing? They are losing 3 individuals more. That is 5 remaining plus 2. They are 7. Out of a total, there will be in the next generation there will be only 7. That means they are losing 3 individuals per generation. So as a gradual decrease in the reproductive capacity, finally it comes to be 0. That is loss of total reproductive capacity of all the members continues below the replacement. Here the loss is 5, but replacing only 2. So net is net minus 3. There will be. Okay, where more individuals die than are born in the next generation, the population will become extinct. Okay, the population as a result finally becomes extinct. Okay, I think you have understood this point. Okay, we can move into the further step. evolution as a species level. Okay, group. A species is defined as a group. Evolution as a species level is a group. A species is defined as a group of interbreeding organisms. Okay, one interbreeding organism that reproductively isolated and therefore cannot successfully interbreed with other groups. That is, a species of one species will interbreed only with the same species. It cannot interbreed with the other species. A camel cannot interbreed with the horse. Okay, this is a different species level. A camel can only interbreed with a camel. A horse can interbreed only with the horse. This is a species interbreeding. Okay. Okay. A species is composed of subunits that are breeding communities. Okay, a species is subunits. That is example we can say Americans, Indians, Australians, suppose Australians, Africans, all are different subunits of the species. They are differently breeding and they are differently living communities. Different communities. They are differently living communities, which are populations. They are living in a populations. Okay, but belongs to same species. All members of species can potentially interbreed. All members of the same species can potentially interbreed, and same degree of interbreeding migration is theoretically possible between all populations of that species. Okay, a members of species can interbreed potentially. That is, some degree of interbreeding is theoretically possible between all the populations of the species. Okay, we move into the next point. Evolution at the species level continuation. The net result of all forces of evolution acting on the population determines the fate of species as a whole. That is, net result of all forces of evolution, that is all forces, climatic forces, all forces acting on the population determine the fate of species as a whole. Okay, fate of species as a whole. If sustained over a long period of time, gradual changes in the allelic frequency between member populations can eventually lead to sufficient genetic differences so that the fertile reproduction is no longer possible. Okay, in this meaning we came to know that if a sustained period, if the species is undergoing a sustained period over a long period time, gradual changes occurring in the will be occurred in the allelic frequency between the populations, that can eventually lead to some genetic differences occurring in their population, so that the fertile reproduction is no longer possible. Okay, when they may recognize a new form of life having arising from one species splitting and producing new species, that is called as a spectrum. That is, suppose we are evolution from a monkey, people will say we are evolution from it. That is, one species is giving to another well developed species which is adapting to the environment. Okay, that is nothing but a speciation. Okay, speciation. Okay, one species giving to life of a new species. Next we are going to be discuss about the isolation and speciation in detail. A number of isolation mechanisms may also prevent organisms from interbreeding amongst each other. Okay, isolation means one species live here only, second species will live here only. It will not go there. First species will not go there. Second species will not come to the first. That is, the behavior in their manner only. They won't go to the other regions. That is, this will result in preventing interbreeding among themselves only. But both the species belong to same group. Okay, that is geographical isolation. That is African tribals, we can say. Example, behavior all social isolation, that is social isolation. Some, we can say, there is a caste modification, that is social behavior, social, that is caste, one caste people will only marry that caste only, that is social isolation. Geographical means place differences. Okay, geographical distribution means place. Mechanical isolation, mechanical changes will occur in that results in isolation. Reproductive isolation is thus an important force that maintains biodiversity. Reproductive isolation, this is an important point. Reproductive isolation is thus an important force that maintains biodiversity. This, you remember this point. Reproductive isolation is thus an important force that maintains biodiversity. It also contributes to form a new species by preventing interbreeding of two populations of a same species. Okay, reproductive isolation results in the contribution of formation of a new species by preventing interbreeding of two population of same species. Okay, speciation. This is, we have discussed about isolation. Okay, we have discussed about isolation. Okay, now we will go to the speciation. Speciation is from one species to the formation of other species. The speciation, the two types: adaptive radiation and successive speciation. Adaptive radiation and successive speciation. Okay, these are the two types of speciation. Now we move on to the adaptive radiation. Adaptive radiation is the progressive diversification. Diversification is dividing. Okay, diversification of species into two or more species as groups adapt to different environments. Progressive diversification is one species changing to diversification, that is relating to three different groups. Okay, three different groups which adapt to these three different groups will adapt to the environment. Okay, natural selection is usually the principal mechanism driving adaptive radiations. Okay, natural selection, if it is undergoes if it adapt to the environment, it will survive. Okay, these three species will survive. First step is the separation of species into distinct breeding populations. Okay, distinct breeding populations as a result of geographical or social isolation. That is, first step is they undergo only geographically located in only one area. They won't move to another area. Geographically they will locate in the isolation or social isolation. Okay,